Joy Guru.
Joy Guru.
This is Banyan Roots, a podcast series on musical mystics of West Bengal, India and Bangladesh known as the Baul or Fakir.
Their philosophy defies definition but has been influenced by many faiths that have taken roots in Bengal.
Like how one banyan tree's dangling roots are actually comprised of many different species of tree all interwoven together and reaching for soil.
Sufism, Vaishnavism, and Vajrayana Buddhism all made their way into this still evolving tradition.
I am Lucia Thomas.
And I am Shubhajit Sengupta.
We'll be your hosts.
And translators.
And I'm also the violinist on this show. We'll be sharing my own live recordings of songs and discussions that I collected while playing, traveling, and living with the Baul in villages throughout West Bengal, India.
Today, the songs will stay focused on Manus, the theory of humanity, but this time in the context of Jat or Caste, which is an archaic system of class and ethnic stratification, unfortunately still existing in many parts of India.
We are in Gorbhanga, a village near the border of Bangladesh. It is just after the monsoon, and all along the roads, long strands of jute, a hemp-like plant, are hanging to dry before they will be bundled and sold.
The singer of the next song, as well as the Uttara player you have just heard, is a jute farmer, whose name is Amirul Fakir.
And Selina D, who we heard in the first episode, sews bags and rugs out of jute to sell at festivals. In Gorbhanga, many fakirs work as jute farmers during the day, and at night, every night, they gather at ashrams to sing.
সত্য পথে কেউ নাই রাজি সত্য পথে কেউ নাই রাজি সবই দেখি তানা না না জাত গেল বলে একে আজো কারিখানা জাত গেল বলে.
The lyrics go, Caste has fallen. People are crying with this strange concern. None are willing to walk the path of truth. Everyone I see is walking about in denial. The next verse says, When you came to this world, what caste were you then? When you depart, what caste will you be? Think carefully and tell me.
যখন তুমি ভবে এলে তখন তুমি কি জাতি ছিলে যখন তুমি ভবে এলে তখন তুমি কি জাতি ছিলে কি জাত বা যাবার কালে কি জাত বা যাবার কালে সেই কথা আমায় বলো না জাত গেল বলে একে আজব কারিখানা জাত গেল বলে.
Amirul Fakir is singing Lalon's iconic song Jat Gelo Jat Gelo, which means caste has fallen. In India, people often determine what region you are from, your religion, and your caste just from seeing your dress or hearing your last name. Babuda and a friend of his were explaining to me what the caste system used to feel like. As Muslims, and usually poor Muslims, the fakirs were treated as very lower caste people by the Brahmins, the upper caste Hindus.
There weren't so many of us Muslim here. Before, they were all Hindus. The upper caste Hindus were persecuting the lower caste people with a stigma of untouchability. They wouldn't let the lower caste people participate in their wedding or festival. Or if higher caste people allowed lower caste people to participate, they would have to stay very far away. If someone touched you, you would have to go purify yourself by taking shower. Is that religion? Is that right? It was customary in the Hindu tradition before, but now it isn't so much. Sometimes people from the older generation still follow this custom.
In the next verse, Amirul Fakir will sing, The professions are all referring to different castes. Priests, slayers, shoemakers, and tanners are all blessed by the same water. Upon inspection, when he is ready, death won't leave anyone behind.
ব্রাহ্মণ চণ্ডাল কামারে মুচি এক জলে সকলি সূচি ব্রাহ্মণ চণ্ডাল কামারে মুচি এক জলে সকলি সূচি দেখে শুনে হয় না রুচি দেখে শুনে হয় না রুচি জমেতে কাউকে ছাড়বে না জাত গেল বলে একই আজব কারিখানা জাত গেল বলে
Back in the 70s, Lalon Fakir was challenging the unjust and irrational caste system. One way he and his followers rejected caste was by abandoning their last names. As your title is a clear indication of your caste, they would discard their last name and just go by Fakir or Dash Baul or just Dash.
This practice is still not wholly accepted, and even people that advocate for Bauls and their philosophy will still ask, "Yes, but what's your real last name?" To which my friend Amirul, who sang the last song and who's playing Uttara now, will firmly reiterate that his full name is Amirul Fakir, that there's no need for his family's name, as we are all one family, one caste, one race, the human race. The next verse will go, "If one secretly gets his rice from a prostitute, how will he stand in his religion?" Lalon says, what is the meaning of caste? This confusion has never fallen.
গোপনে যে বেশ্যার ভাত খাই তাতে ধর্মের কি ক্ষতি হয় গোপনে যে বেশ্যার ভাত খাই তাতে ধর্মের কি ক্ষতি হয় লালন বলে জাতকারে কয় লালন বলে জাতকারে কয় এ ভ্রম তো গেল না জাত গেল বলে একে আজব কারিখানা জাত গেল বলে একে আজব কারিখানা জাত গেল বলে
I was only supposed to stay in Gorpanga one night. I had some pressing things to attend to in Kolkata before I was to take another long trip the following week. But the music was so intoxicating, I stayed another night, and then another, and another. It was like I had arrived at the island of the Lotus Eaters, a fantasy world where people made time for music, philosophy, and meditation. Life was too good, to which my friend Jamsher Fakir, who will sing the next song, said to me, "Teke jao, just move in."
Singing and playing Dotara is Jamsher Fakir.
জাতি ধর্ম ছাইরা দিয়া সরল দেশে
The song is by Matal Rajjak called Sorol Dese Jao.
মানুপমান না ছাড়িলে সাধন ভজন পাও মন মানুষ হতে যাও জাতি ধর্ম ছাইরা দিয়া সরল দেশে যাও মন মানুষ হতে চাও জাতি ধর্ম ছাইরা দিয়া সরল দেশে যাও.
This verse said, "The mind wants to become a simple person. Abandon caste and religion and go to the simple country. If you can't leave your worth behind, your practice will be worthless." Fakirs had gathered at the ashram of Arman Fakir, the singer Jamsher's guru. Rain was clacking on the open-walled roof and spectators were huddling wherever they could find shelter. Hearing Jamsher sing this song, Lalon Fakir explained to us the meaning.
Do you know where the simple land is? Where people are simple, where there is no pain or suffering. Lust, anger, greed, attachments have all gone far away. There one becomes a simple person who can control the senses and the 6 vices. It was said in the song to be with this simple person.
Sorol Dese Jao Sorole Jao Sorol paile jaita kabe re Laron Fakir Sorol desher sorol Manus korle tomar bao dine shukaiya jabe keher pushto ghao dine shukaiya jabe keher pushto ghao জাতি ধর্ম ছাইরা দিয়া সরল দেশে যাও মন মানুষ হতে চাও জাতি ধর্ম ছাইরা দিয়া সরল দেশে যাও.
The last verse said, "If you want to go to the simple country, be with people simply. If from simplicity one tastes deadly poison, zinc or lead, as a simple person of the simple land, within just 3 days the body will be healed."
So if you stay close to simple people, you will hear the simple words and yourself will become simple. Until you become simple, truthful person, you will not find that simple person. Slowly, as you become simple, then only you will find that person. If you stay close to that simple person, you will get to see God.
জিন্দা মানুষ গিলে খাই বাবা সবই মারাই মিলিয়া সত্যি চাও জাতি ধর্ম ছাইরা দিয়া সরল দেশে যাও.
The last verse went, "If you go to that country, go with the nature of death. There the dead swallow up humans. The mouth of death is sharp as diamonds. In the blink of an eye, someone's child is swallowed up." The singer Jamsher asked this question of his guru, who he addresses as Sadhu.
Sadhu, in this song it says, "Go like one who has died." What does that mean?
His guru, Lalon Fakir, then answered,
It's the world of actions. If you go to that country, it's like you will die. When you become simple, your temperament will be like that of a dead person. Will a dead person show anger? He cannot, because he is dead.
নিরঞ্জন কেউ না বুঝতে পারো দাঁড়ে বাড়া কুলোর বদল পরের বুঝাবাও বেলা যে হেলাইয়া গেল তার দিকে তাকাও মন সত্যি যাও জাতি ধর্ম ছাইরা দিয়া সরল দেশে যাও জাতি ধর্ম ছাইরা দিয়া সরল দেশে যাও.
The last verse said, "Allah, Rasul, Krishna, Kali, praise their names. Which caste is Shai'r Niranjan, no one can tell. Like the cow in the oil mill heaving the burden of others, time is carelessly turning. See if it's so."
That is the simple person. He doesn't have any pain. He has no greed, lust, or anger. This song advises to be with that kind of person. Find these kinds of people and stay close to them. Some shout and boast by calling the names of Krishna, Ram, and Allah. If you want to be proud of any god, take pride in the God that resides within you. Making big of the names of gods outside won't do you any good. You have to know yourself. Within you is that person who you are searching for.
The last verse will talk about 4 religions and then 4 castes. Brahman, Chandal, Haji, and Gaji are names for different castes. O mind, go watch the dock by the edge of the river. Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, all board the same boat. Brahman, Chandal, Haji, Gaji drink from the same river. Matal Rajjak is calling out, "Who wants to reach the other shore? The boat is leaving."
হিন্দু মুসলিম বৌদ্ধ খ্রিস্টান সব চড়ে এক নাই ব্রাহ্মণ চান্দাল হাজি গাজি এক নদীর জল তাই মাতাল রাজ্জাক ডাকে পারি দিতে চাইলা দিল না জাতি ধর্ম চাইলা দিলা দেশে যাও সত্যে যাও জাতি ধর্ম চাইলা দিলা জাতি ধর্ম চাইলা দিলা দেশে যাও.
Being in Gorbhanga, I felt like I had found that simple country. The people in that town have thick village accents which were very hard for me to understand. The majority work as farmers, and probably had very little formal education. And yet, the fakirs there discuss philosophy all the time. Lalon is quoted in nearly every conversation, and people seem to try to hold each other to the values enshrined in these songs. While I was in the village, I met 2 friends, Suvankar and Sudip, who were making an audio-video project to celebrate a local Gorbhanga poet-composer named Ajahar Fakir. I'll share a clip of one of those songs from their YouTube channel called Dubki. It will have a more processed sound than my field recordings, which you're used to hearing by now. Please do check out their channel Dubki. Suvankar's team did a wonderful job featuring many different singers in various settings of the village. You can see what Gorbhanga looks like after hearing all these stories. This song was written by Gorbhanga's own poet, composer, teacher, Ajahar Fakir, who was born in the early 20th century. He wrote hundreds of songs on Baul Fakir philosophy and nurtured the culture of music that is still so vibrant in Gorbhanga today. Here is Khaibar Fakir singing Nishedh Karo Ogo Brinde by Ajahar Fakir.
নিষেধ করো গোবিন্দে বাঁশি বাজাতে বনে বাজাতে বনে বেতালো বাঁশেরি বাঁশরি বেতালো বাঁশেরি বাঁশরি কুল ছাড়াই বাঁশিরি তাহানে বাঁশি বাজায় না বনে নিষেধ করো গোবিন্দে বাঁশি বাজাতে বনে বাজাতে বনে.
That was Khaibar Fakir singing a song by poet-teacher Ajahar Fakir. Though he was born Muslim, he composed so many songs like this one for the Hindu god Krishna. He was not confined by religious boundaries, but found ecstasy in devotional singing, regardless to whom. He passed this sentiment on to the generations that followed, Many of Ajahar Fakir's children, grandchildren, nephews, and nieces are now all prominent Fakir musicians, and at one time they would all perform together.
আজাহার কয় হলে মরণ সকল দুঃখ হতো নিবারণ আজাহার কয় হলে মরণ সব দুঃখ হতো নিবারণ দূরে যেত সকলে কারণ দূরে যেত সকলে কারণ শ্রীকৃষ্ণহীনী জীবনে বাঁশি বাজায় না বনে নিষেধ করো ও গোবিন্দে বাঁশি বাজায় না বনে বাজায় না বনে বাজাতে বনে বাজাতে বনে
The energy in Gorbhanga is wonderful, but this town has been discovered by outside. TV exposure, high-paying gigs, and even abroad touring opportunities have paved the once muddy roads with concrete. Aluminium-topped huts have ballooned into colorfully painted two-story houses, and now the town boasts 5 major ashrams where people gather to play and sing every night. While financially the quality of life has gone up, other aspects of life have been lost. The most prestigious performance opportunity of course don't come to all equally, and this causes much jealousy among the fakirs. And now many of them don't perform together anymore.
My city friends, who appreciate Baul music but themselves are not Bauls, say that Gorbhanga has lost its previous charm and that the folks I recorded there are not real fakirs, that they sing Lalon's songs in vain without proper practice.
The Baul and Fakir carved out a path different from mainstream Bengali culture. When society finally accepted the Baul for being that way, society also made that way into a new box. Now, if Bauls don't fit into that box or image, again they're rebuked.
But the Baul are always breaking norms and expectations. Ultimately, it is not appropriate for me to judge who is a real Baul. The beautiful songs they have shared and the way they explain the philosophy of the lyrics feels helpful to me and enrich my life. So I am sharing with you the best I can, in hopes you too can benefit.
To progress towards self-understanding, instead of judging others, we have to look inside and catch our own pranen Manus, our soulmate. Listen to what Prafulla Sarkar has to say about this in the next song, Achhe Manus, Hridoy Pinjiray.
The amazing sister Uttara was singing in a sweltering room while we were waiting to be called for that recording session. And yet the songs were flowing like honey from her lips. It's so good, I'm going to let you listen to the whole song without interruption. Here's Prafulla Sarkar's song, Achhe Manus, Hridoy Pinjiray.
Manus, Achhe Manus, Hridoy Pinjiray. মানুষটা করিলে যতন মনের মতো মন সুরে বাঁশি বাজায় আছে মানুষ হৃদয় পিঞ্জিরা আছে মা বাজায় আছে মানুষ হৃদয় পিঞ্জিরায় আছে মানুষ হৃদয় পিঞ্জিরায়।
The lyrics go. There is a person in the cage of your heart. Care for that person as your own mind. Then the mind will play her flute in tune. That person has its own mind and is the gem of your being. Be the god of the poor and care for your innocent mind, so she will play her flute in tune.
এই মানুষে আছে মনে সেই সেই মানুষ রাতা একদিন না করিলে মে যত সেই মানুষ তাকে মানুষ চিত্ত পটে নিশিক পটে চিত্ত পটে নিশিক পটে মনুষ্যরে মনুষ্যরে বা শিব আছে মানুষ হৃদয় পিঞ্জিরায় আছে মানুষ হৃদয় পিঞ্জিরায়।
In this person, there is a people trap. You have to catch a person to understand the workings of the trap. If that person wants, two will come together. Prafulla says, with knowledge and insight, catch that one person and keep a close watch on them. I'll come again and again to catch him. Your coming and going will start if you can stay with that person.
আগে প্রফুল্ল কয় জেনে বুঝে আগে একজন মানুষ ধর এই মানুষ সাধিবার তরে আমরা ধরা আসিবারে তখন আসা যাওয়া হবে তোমার আসা আসা যাওয়া হবে তোমার যদি একজন মানুষ আছে মানুষ হৃদয় পিঞ্জিরায় আছে মানুষ হৃদয় পিঞ্জিরায় মানুষ করলে যতন মনের মতন মানুষ
Wow, what a voice. I had not meant to stay in Gorbanga until this recording session. I was supposed to leave many days before. The day I was gonna leave, Amirul called Uttara and had her sing for me over the phone. Even over the crackling phone speaker, I was mesmerized by her voice. She told me to stay and that she would come in 3 days for the recording session. I was so entranced, I couldn't refuse, so I stayed. But in staying longer, I began to see the thorns piercing the rosy picture I had painted of Gorbanga. I could see how the Fakirs wanted to play with me partially because the violin is a bit uncommon there, yet fits within the music, and that I can play decently well. But that I was given so much attention, I believe, was really because of my presence as a Westerner. On social media, it's a boon to have someone looking like me playing with them. It shows others that they are attracting people from abroad with their music. In the future, perhaps I could be a connection to money and touring opportunities, but also maybe there's some old colonial residue of an internalized white supremacy that makes some people think, or at least say, that I am more skilled than I actually am. I got to play on some very prestigious stages with highly accomplished classical musicians, though I'm still just learning this music, and I started to think that these opportunities were for similar reasons. It seems to me that humans everywhere have a natural pull towards status and hierarchy. My mother, Shanti Elliott, is a strong advocate for social justice and has built her life around fighting racism, so naturally I took up the baton many times myself. As a young musician, I would get very angry about issues of race and class. One time, I was playing a really sweet concert in Boston with one of my favorite guitar players, Mark Kiliansky. It was just before Christmas, and we had played our first set of Irish and old-time tunes, and were on a break before a second set. A man came up to me to praise our performance. He was a large man with a mustache and proclaimed himself to be an Anglophile. He started pontificating on the wondrous literary contributions that came out of England, and he said that all other countries put together couldn't match the brilliance that came out of that one isle. I said this was a preposterous statement, and that he obviously hadn't read very much. I started listing many beloved authors. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Laura Esquivel, Rumi, Hafez. He stopped me by saying that none could compare to the genius of Shakespeare. The break was ending, and I was so angry I couldn't think. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even play my violin. I went into a back room and screamed into a pillow. But the funny thing is, though I despised him so, I recently found that man with the mustache within myself. You see, I've gone and done a very foolish thing. I have devoted myself to learning Hindustani classical music. Now, many years in, I can see it is a Don Quixote quest, an impossible dream. This music is so deep, so complex, rich, powerful, that it could take me many lifetimes to hold even a drop of that ocean's water. And yet, here I am, still trying. Having gotten my degree in Western classical violin performance, there was a subconscious part of me that thought it would just be a matter of learning some new techniques and theories. But if I really invested myself with my training and background, I could certainly play like them. But after practicing Hindustani music for many years now, I see that this delusion was based on the pervasive myth, which told me that 18th century Western Europe had reached some kind of musical pinnacle. Well, I tell you, there's nothing to debunk such a myth as to really try to learn the genius of another culture. I am humbled to my core in trying to play this music, and I am so grateful for that. But maybe more importantly, I recognized that this attitude of superiority, which to me is such a disgusting quality in any human being, was also present in myself, and so must be present in many people to some extent, in the same way that greed, anger, lust are also present in most people. But these are all just passing emotions, thoughts. They don't define who we are. They are important to observe and to show compassion for, but countering with anger is useless. I was so angry with that mustached man that I couldn't reason with him. But maybe, if I'd stayed in a place of love, I could have gotten his address and sent him some great reeds for the holidays. Lalon, of course, says it best. He tells us to worship people. If you can find the divine in all those that you meet, you'll certainly find the divine within yourself. Here's our last song for today. The lyrics will go, "Worship people, and your soul will turn to gold. Without people, your root will wither and dry up."
Here is Jamsher Fakir singing Lalon's Manus Bhojle Sonar Hobi.
মানুষ ছাড়া খেপারে তুই, মানুষ ছাড়া খেপারে তুই মূলে হারাবি, ও তুই মূলে হারাবি। মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি। মানুষ ছাড়া খেপারে তুই, মানুষ ছাড়া খেপারে তুই মূল্যে হারাবি, ও তুই মূল্যে হারাবি। মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি।
The lyrics go, "People wind and curve about people as vines upon the trees. After listening and knowing, then shave your head, and your caste will naturally uplift."
আছে যেমন আলোক লতা, এই মানুষে মানুষ গাতা। গাছে যেমন আলোক লতা, জেনে শুনে মুড়াও মাথা, যাতে তোরবি ও তুই জেনে শুনে মুড়াও মাথা, যাতে তোরবি। মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি।
In the rays of the two-petaled lotus shines the golden person. If you have devotion to the Guru, you will get to know her.
দিদলে মিনালে সোনার মানুষ সোজালে, দিদলে মিনালে সোনার মানুষ সুজালে। তুই মানুষ গুরু কৃপা হলে, মানুষ গুরু কৃপা হলে জানতে পারবি, ও তুই জানতে পারবি। মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি।
Without people, oh my mind, you will fall into the void of nothing. Lalon says, if you worship people, you will meet the golden person.
মানুষ ছাড়া মন রে আমার, পড়বি রে তুই শূন্যকার। মানুষ ছাড়া মন রে আমার, পড়বি রে তুই শূন্যকার। ফকির লালন বলে মানুষ আকার, লালন বলে মানুষ আকার। ভজলে তাকে পাবি, ভজলে তাকে পাবি। মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি। মানুষ ছাড়া খেপারে তুই মূল্যে হারাবি, মানুষ ছাড়া খেপারে তুই মূল্যে হারাবি। মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ ভজলে সোনার মানুষ হবি।
Thanks for listening. Today you heard songs exploring Manush-twatto, the theory of humanity, and specifically songs about Jat or caste.
Please tune in for the next episode in the Garden of Krishna's Love, which will present the ecstatic songs of Bhakti, the devotion.
For a summary of the songs, composers, and artists of today's episode, as well as links to listen and learn more, please check out the show notes. This podcast series is the fruit of 2 Fulbright fellowships I undertook in West Bengal, India. Many thanks to the Fulbright Nehru program. Special thanks also to Biplab Ghosh, Arnab Sengupta, Rina and Manusij Goswami for help in the field, to Jean Nemirovsky for audio engineering, to all the musicians and teachers who recorded for me, and to my husband and co-host Shubhajit Sengupta for making this show possible. My name is Lucia Thomas, and you've been listening to Banyan Roots, a podcast series on the Bole and Fakir, musical mystics from Bengal. Please visit Banyan Roots on www.amplisoundsradio.com to find out more.
Joy Guru.
Joy Guru.